build to hold is a strategy, literally what it says on the tin, right? You build something to hold it. You don't want to sell it. You want to build it and rent it. I think it's a very, very exciting model, something that I am very interested in. We collectively are very interested in build to hold. We're looking at doing some of it right now, and I think it's going to become more prevalent as time wears on. Why? Because society in general is beginning to rent things. They're interested in having the nicest, best option now, and not having to wait to save the money to buy it later. Does that make sense? So people are leasing brand new cars. They never own the car, but they're leasing it instead of saving up to buy a car. Another story on financials there behind that, but instead of saving up to buy a nice new car, they can lease it for £200, £300, £400, £500, £600 a month, and get a very expensive, fancy-looking car with all the bells and whistles. I fully expect that this will begin to happen as well in property. We're already seeing a transition. This is slightly to do with people at the bottom end of the market feeling like they're pushed out, but also because as a society we just like renting things now. Don't own it, we just rent it, and it means you're not tied to any specific place. You can rent a lovely home, and if you decide next year that you don't want to live there anymore, you want to move to Canada or you want to move to somewhere else, you can just get up and leave. You're not tied there. And yeah, so I see it happening, I see it progressing quite a lot, but there is a new trend as well in the build to hold sector which is quite exciting. The best way I can describe it is like building student halls for adults. I know students at university are adults, but like real adults. So instead of just being a block of flats with 11 two-beds in or whatever it is, right? They have a block of flats, but they also have a gym. Maybe they have some cafes and things in the bottom floor on the commercial side of things. So essentially, larger institutions are starting to build estates that they then rent instead of selling. It's very exciting. Institutions are liking the look of this new model because rental income is very relatively stable compared to other investments, and it gives a fair amount of creativity. Graduates flipping love it because it's like being back in uni again, but also you can get like a whole array of people. You're building like a community that you're then going to rent, and so you can do things like having social functions and things put on and managed by the managers of this block. It seems like a lot of work, but you can push your rent up considerably by operating under this principle, which is quite exciting and quite interesting.